Hey guys, welcome back. Once again, Neal prompts Ryan to say something and then cuts him off mid-reply to start the show.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. I'm kind of a dick about it, accidentally.
So Leon has chartered a seat on this ferry heading north, downriver from Ashenholt to the Loch. It's a good ways, so it'll probably take the rest of the day. You're moving swiftly with the current. So I guess shortly after the boat pulls off, you said you were looking for some gambling.
Yeah. Let's throw some dice around, play some cards, get some... I have this unused non-weapon proficiency slot that I haven't figured out what to do with yet. I think I just got it a moment ago.
Yeah. So you're sort of looking around. There's like a structure of the boat, if that makes sense. You can be inside or outside, and there's the two floors. So I think you step into the lower floor inside the structure, and you see in a corner, sure enough, there are games being played. A half dozen or so men slinging cards, laughing and drinking, and
excellent.
And yeah. Losing coin. But sure enough, amongst the gamers is a familiar face.
That's bad.
A tall, lanky man. The green vest and thick red sideburns is in the midst of this of these gamblers.
I don't have that description written down for any of the characters that we've encountered yet, so I don't know who this is off the top of my head.
Yeah, so maybe you recognize the guy. You're not sure whether this was one of your buddies from your guild days or what. But I don't even have my dice out. It's been a slow session.
Well, there's no way I'm going to avoid this guy the entire time we're on this boat, so... Leon is going to go sit down at the table with him. Is there a free spot at the table first?
Yeah, so this guy, you may not recognize him, but he looks up and recognizes you. He kind of gives you a knowing smile and sort of makes space for you at a table and beckons you over.
I come, sit down, and make eye contact, assertively.
Around you are gamers, but they appear preoccupied. No one really takes notice of you and this lanky gentleman.
I give him a grunt.
Well. My friend. He gestures to the table.
I turn
Would
to
you
the
care
dealer.
to pull up a seat?
Yeah, I sit down.
He rolls around in a hand perhaps a small gemstone. He's moving it a little too quickly for you to get eyes on it. I guess if you'd like, you can.
That's fine.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. I believe we had a deal that you slipped out on.
It all comes clicking back to Leon. He knows exactly who this gentleman is. This is Fano. You did have a deal.
Blimey, I suppose I ought to do as my ma said and give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure you just had a very important appointment to get to. You wouldn't have slipped out on little old Fano, would ya?
The way I see it, you failed to hold up your end of the deal, which relieved me from holding up my end.
Well, perhaps we ought to remedy our sour deal with a fresh, sweet one. Would you care for a game of chance? What is your... Have you told Fano your name?
I think I introduced myself as Maldris to him.
Yeah. Okay.
I once knew a man named Chance. Didn't like him much.
If I win, he leans in, and take me to that gold I was promised.
And if I win?
Why, you can have my die. And he flickers the what looked like a gemstone, and you see is a irregular polyhedra that he's twirling around in his knuckles.
Leon takes a moment to mentally review the spells he has memorized. So, game of chance then. All right. What game are we playing?
Simple game. You roll the die. And he hands you over the polyhedra. Or would you rather I show you how it's done?
How do I know you're not? And then I kind of lower my voice so no one else hears. Using witchcraft to load the die.
Tell me, Maldris, would you want to play if I weren't? In any case, it's too late. A deal's a deal. He holds the polyhedra out in the palm of his hand and pauses for a moment. It appears you are free to grab it, or you can stall or whatever. Let him. Yeah.
I'll just takes a moment to weigh his options. This Fano just is talking in riddles and implying things are too late, and from where Leon's sitting,
it's
nothing's been.
It's super eerie. You are in you're in the hull of the ship, surrounded by men gambling. They aren't paying you any attention. You're at this table with Fano, and it's it's like all these people are just like background, and they. Right. Mm-hmm. They're setting the scene, but they how can they not notice this 6 foot tall chap with his bright green vest and
exactly
and Mal, just the muscle wizard, cutting an imposing figure in his friar robes and his silly hat.
Hey, my hat is cool. All right, it's a good hat.
In any case, do you take the die from his palm?
No way. Don't trust this guy one bit. So, I roll the die, and then what?
If you win, you get to keep it. And
How
if
do
I win,
what's the win condition?
He flips the die up and catches it on the back of his hand. Oh, I should be doing this with one of my cooler dies. What is blue stuff? Like red. I think. Yeah. The Phantom die is green. It's refracting light in an odd way. Do you take a look at it, or?
I look at it in his hands. I don't, from the distance that he holds it.
Mm-hmm.
But I ask him again about the win condition. What is a win? How do I know if I win or not?
You should pay more attention to your runes.
I mean, that gibberish you were spouting? Complete nonsense? This is another one of your half-truths and tricks, isn't it?
He gives a wink. He shrugs. If you'd like to think of it this way, You've already made the deal. You decide not to roll the die. Well, I guess I just win by default.
All right. Maldris / Leon will grab the die and toss it on the table. Just to, snatch it out of his hands and just drop it.
Roll a gaming test. A gaming check. You are unproficient, and your charisma is 5, so you will be rolling a flat d20.
Not a d20 minus 5 or something?
Because
isn't gaming charisma based?
Correct.
So it's just going to be because it's d20 plus 5 minus 5, right?
Yeah.
So I need to roll a 20 to succeed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. A 15. A nice roll. The irregular polygon sort of teeters across the table before you. You're just now looking at the faces for the first time, and they are unrecognizable runes. Well, maybe some of them look familiar. Maybe they were when he was tracing out on the stone before. Mm-hmm. But it comes up with with some rune you don't recognize. And Fano tisks. Stepping out of character for a moment, we're going to be introducing a new, I don't know what to even call it, a new skill progression idea that I suggested to Neal just in the last break. We'll talk details and as we go on. But for now, what I'm going to have you do is record every skill challenge, I guess is the D&D term for it, but I think it'll be slightly different. So maybe we'll have to come up with a different way to refer to these. Perhaps skill wagers is the way I would think of it. But it'll function in D&D more or less as a skill check, right? As a skill challenge. Only I'm going to have you record whether that was a fail or a success.
Okay, so
and I'm not sure how we'll mechanize it down the line. For now, just record it, and then at some point we'll ascend your character, and you can spend points to advance skills using checks or blah blah blah.
Sure. So I just have.
But for now, write down that you have failed
checks, and then a number of passes and fails, right?
Yeah, maybe we'll even do it for stats too. But for now, just record you failed a gaming check. You can even keep a little journal, and you're like, failed the gaming check versus Fano, the swindler.
Ooh, so, okay.
All right, heading back to game, he tisk. No, I'm afraid not, Maldris. It appears that you lose. And he picks the die off of the table, and in a shocking, in an instant, something's different in the room. Fano's gone. The die's disappeared from the table. There are still men around you, gaming, paying you no mind, but you are sitting alone at a table next to them. And maybe the lights seem a little dimmer around here. You thought there was music just a second ago, but there's clearly no organ on this boat. That'd be absurd.
I kind of look to the sides.
And you'll realize sooner or later, but your coin purse is quite a bit later. How much? What was in there initially?
70 copper and 108 gold.
Yeah, the gold is gone.
All of it?
All of it is gone. There's 78 copper still in your coin purse.
What the fuck is going on? I kind of get up in a huff.
Yeah, maybe this ferry isn't as jolly a place as you thought. And I think you grumble your way through the rest of the ferry ride. Is there any other action you'd like to take here? You can still get in on that game.
No, my appetite for
Perhaps,
gaming has been spoiled.
Some of the men seem to be passing flasks around. Or do you brew by yourself?
No, I retreat to an interior room where I can kind of back myself into a corner somewhere.
If you climb the stairs to the second floor and go to the back corner, you're more or less left alone.
Yeah, this is the exact sort of thing that Maldris/Leon is worried about. So I find a corner, sit in it, and just watch, and kind of like keep freaking out and looking back and forth, checking the doors, checking the windows, looking for a familiar face, looking for someone to come after me. Not exactly thrilled about this development.
No, definitely not. You don't have a spellcraft skill, do you?
I do not.
So moving forward, I'm hoping that this new way, or that this, I don't know, that this approach to looking at skills will incentivize you trying to find ways to use your skill to, like, if there's benefit, if you advance your skills by using them, and specifically by failing at them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that it will incentivize you to try and come up with ways to use to ask for skill checks, right?
Right.
Because typically in D&D, you kind of want to avoid them, unless, right?
Right.
Unless they don't give you experience, unless the DM decides.
They can only screw you over unless there's something that is already screwing you that they can help you with.
Yeah.
The measures of last resort. Okay.
So you don't have the spellcraft. You are
I'm lacking that skill.
Self-taught. You've got gifts of magic, but it was never. In fact, you've never really even had a teacher.
Yeah. Except for that one Fano guy, but he failed teaching.
So out of character, it's very clear that there's some witchcraft going on. Maybe, in character, Leon's suspicious, but he's not. You don't really have the lens to look through the situation and make sense of what sorcery is afoot. But the ferry chugs on. You don't have to worry about getting attacked by giant poisonous spiders on the ferry.
That's nice.
So if you don't have anything you'd like to do, we can skip ahead to, I think, evening. You'll be pulling into the lake.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
So that evening?
Yeah. Oops. I should have. I don't know what overlay you had up. Would have been. Should have had like some lake scene. But oh well. So that evening, you will pull into Ashlock, the lake in the shadow of Ashenhold Keep. You would have been at least to the city before.
Mm-hmm.
You pull in after dark. In the sunlight, the lake would be spectacular, many miles wide. And after dark, it is peculiar in a different sense. Right? Seeing the lights sort of bordering this massive lake coming into view as the ferry approaches. You have to go under some sort of a stone bridge, and the path that you would have taken some weeks ago. It's above.
Well, I did stay at an inn here called the Lock something. It was something Lock or Lock something. So I want to avoid any inn with the name Lock in it. But probably, I also want to check to see if I don't even need an inn. I want to, on the dock, I'll ask somebody that looks like they might have this knowledge.
So the ferry pulls into Ashlock. Up to the city, to the docks that you would have seen from the land side, and passengers unload. You check with one of the crew members, and they tell you that they tell you that if you purchase like another fare, the ferry will be continuing sort of across the loch.
Same ferry?
Same ferry.
Like it.
So they're like unloading all the passengers and loading on new passengers.
So now that my 108 gold is gone, I no longer can afford to leave the island. I now have 70 copper to my name. I can take the ferry.
70 copper. Okay, yeah.
But I can't then pay for a ship. But I would rather have that problem out of Ashlock where people might recognize me for murder. Yeah. So I will. So I'll pay the 50 copper pieces to take the ferry to the next town.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like there is another. There will be another fare you can gather.
Yeah.
So you can take. So the 5 silver will get you across the lake. And they'll actually go down river a little ways to another stop, but to get all the way to the sea to what I call it, Westport.
Westport
is going to there'll be
fare.
Another fare, which it sounds like you won't have money for.
Nope. Well,
you have rations.
I have 2 days of rations. Was there no food included on these ships?
There was not. Okay. You bought a sandwich before you got on the ship, so you can hold off a little bit.
Will I get to the other side of the lake today still?
It sounds like the ferry will travel by night.
Okay.
And by daybreak you'll probably be at your next stop.
Okay.
At which point you might get kicked off if you don't have money.
All right, so I'm just going to eat a day's worth of rations. Leon will just overeat that day, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get to the really scrappy part. I've got 1 day of food, 20 copper to my name, a dagger, and some spells. Shit. Where am I when I wake up?
Oh, you go to sleep on the ship?
Yeah, I'll sleep on the ship.
Yeah, you can get a good night's rest. You didn't cast any spells, correct?
Mm-mm. No spells cast.
So you don't have any memorization or anything to do the next day?
Correct.
Yeah, I think you sleep through the night. You sort of miss the ferry crossing the lake and heading downriver. And I think you wake up in the hours of the morning, pulling into some docks on the side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the same drill they did in Ashlock. They go around and unload everybody or collect additional fares and take on new passengers.
Okay,
so you're groggily are waking up. You can wake up whenever you want, right? So you're waking up as you're pulling into port. If there's anything you want to do before you get to port.
No. This is perfect. So they come around asking for additional fares to continue down the waterway.
Mm-hmm.
And they come to me and
I think they're probably they typically would unload everyone or whatever and then reload and you pay as you board. In Ashlock, it was late and you were like, man, here's 50 copper,
right?
And they let you stay on. So they come around and they're like, next stop, sir. And the man approaches to it can be the same guy.
Sure. I lower my head and look over my nose at him. You have any... It pains him to say this. Any work that needs doing on the ship? I'm a little short.
He kind of eyes you up and down.
I roll up the sleeves on my robes and kind of flex my muscles as I cross my arms a little bit.
Threateningly, or
I'm trying to show off my strength and maybe imply that I'm I'm a strong man and I've got work that I could do. I am a laborer.
I think either way, it sounds like you're leaning into your non-existent charisma once again.
Yes.
So I think why don't we resolve this with a
charisma check,
skill check.
Skill check.
Yeah. And we'll go ahead and record this one. I don't know how stats will work going. We'll deal with advancing skills based on these checks at another date, but do keep track.
So
roll a charisma check to and I don't know. We'll see what language we wind up evolving to use.
Sure.
A charisma wager. If you succeed, which you don't, you would have gotten what you wanted. You'd get you convince him that you're worth, that you can pull your weight around the ship. He'll give you a job. But alas, you fail. So mark that you failed that charisma check, and I think at some point later, I don't think you'll want to spend
2 charisma checks and 1 intelligence check.
Yeah, so I think these are useful. I can't imagine if Leon gets the opportunity at some later level to advance a stat, he would want to be advancing his charisma. But in any case, mark that you failed the charisma check, and you are learning your limitations at least. Nah, buddy, no fair, no fairy. Time to get up. And he goes to help you move your stuff. He doesn't go grabby, but he
I make a quick and possibly abrupt or maybe even threatening gesture to move his hand away from my stuff. And then I gather it slowly, keeping an eye on this fare taker, and disembark. Are we in a village or a town, or are we just on the shore somewhere?
Kind of feels like you're on the shore somewhere. I mean, there's a dock that you're stepping out onto, and there's a village associated with the dock. But you don't know where you are. You're on it's pretty big, calm river. Sun's coming up on one end of it. Yep. So you step off onto the dock.
All right. Well, Leon really only knows the violent way of life. And he's very used to breaking people's bones or even killing people. Not killing people. I think he's only ever killed that one person back at the very beginning. But he's used to hurting people to get what he needs, and he's used to hurting people to get money out of it. So I think when Leon steps off the dock, his first thought is, well, I'm gonna have to go rob somebody. And I'd rather make one big score than have to do lots of little jobs along the way. So as he disembarks, he scans the village to look for the largest house or the largest building round.
Okay. Yeah, there's a very obvious we'll say there's a manor house up on the hill. Yeah.
Well,
large 2-story building with sprawling grounds, right? So you're in the village and you can sort of look up. There's a hill overlooking the village.
It's morning, right? As I walk... before I go anywhere else, I'm going to ask one of the guys at the boat how often ferries come by.
You can ask either the dock workers or someone on the ferry. Ferry comes by every day, coming one way or another.
A nod.
So, yeah. So tomorrow there will be a ferry coming, probably maybe even the same ferry coming back.
And then the next day it would be going the other way?
Yeah.
So tomorrow it'll be coming the wrong way, and the day after it'll be going the right way.
Yeah.
Okay. Leon nods. That gives him one day to figure out who lives in that manor house, what they have that might be valuable, and then a day... Yeah, that gives me today to figure out who's in the manor house and what's might be around there. Tomorrow morning, they'll be coming back towards me, and then that night, so I guess I have 2 days to figure out what's going on, then get in there, get some money the second night, and then come back to the docks that morning and take a boat out right away. So I've got 48 hours to make some money in this town. And Leon doesn't want to do this often. So first things first, figure out who lives there and what they do so I can kind of figure out what forms of cash they might have, something like that. I don't know. First things first. Who lives there, and what am I looking at? You know, are they an epic 10th level knight, or are they some shitty, sickly noble kid who's been, you know, running the place? So I'll head into the village and look for a tavern.
Yeah, that would probably be one of the first and one of the few buildings on the dock.
What sort of place is it when I look in from the outside? Is it like boisterous? Is it quiet? Is it like empty? Sleazy?
It's not empty, but it's a quiet, slimy tavern on the side of this river in this rather podunk little town. We can give it a name. Let's call it the... Maybe we can't give it a name. My random name generator is broken. My brain.
Whenever my random name generator is broken, I think of names that other players have used for things, and then I just steal them and use them as my own.
Its name is Roy's Place.
Roy's Place. Oh, nice.
I meant to put a Roy Wanted poster as an Easter egg there, but you walked away before I got a chance to describe it.
All right. Well, I go into Roy's place.
Yeah,
then.
we'll go with it's called the Sea Scum, and it's
Sea Scum. Ooh.
Yeah. It's a quiet tavern, you know, on the docks, overlooking this large river. You sit down and get yourself anything, or do you just sit yourself down on the porch or something?
I will get a drink. And
can afford that.
I can afford that. I've got some copper coins. Mm-hmm. Get myself a drink. How much is that in copper?
1 copper.
I'll buy whatever's cheap. And then
buy you an ale.
Take a spot where I can kind of a good view of the layout of the room, if I can find one.
Sure. Yeah, you can sit in. Do you want to sit inside or on the
inside?
Porch?
Inside.
Okay.
Definitely.
So you can sit inside the Sea Scum, sip on your nice dark beer, and look out over at the scummy inhabitants, and then you can actually look out the glass windows onto the porch and across the river to the forest beyond. Okay. From this vantage, like the manor house that you saw would be like behind you through the town up a hill.
Perfect. So Leon will sit there and he'll take his time and just kind of survey the situation until he finishes his first drink. And he's looking for somebody that might be able to answer some questions for him without really drawing too much attention. So maybe somebody that is down and out and is day drinking, but I guess it's like dawn. We've just arrived. Is there like a town drunk in here? I'm looking for somebody that's a little wasted.
Yeah, you can find a town drunk. Probably several sailors or people that are down on their luck. Maybe same situation as you. You know, they took the ferry into town, couldn't afford the fare to keep going, so they just got off, and here they are.
All right. So I'll go up to the bar, get a second drink and a third. So
yeah, there's probably someone who got kicked off with you, even. One of the gamblers, one of the gamers, lost all his money and couldn't afford to keep riding the ferry.
If I will take him if he's the only option, but I would rather somebody that was here already. I'm looking for somebody with like town knowledge. So someone that came on the boat with me is maybe questionable. Like this might be their first time here for all I know.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of curious to see how many checks get rolled in a good session. So I think we'll, and I need to get like a list, and this may prompt me to want to come up with extra skills
I'm on
or
board.
use some of your skills or things like that. But I think here we're doing like a local history check or some sort of history check. And if you're not proficient, roll at -5.
Yeah.
And this would and this would be a way of opening up those skills to you later if you ever wanted to get them at a level up. Or
sure.
We'll see how that evolves. But yeah, so maybe let's do a local history wager to see if you can get any information out of the town drunk.
Wait, would I make a local history check to get information out of a town drunk?
Yeah, I mean,
or
it's
would
like
I be
you.
making
Yeah,
the
it's like you
wager-
working and yeah.
Would
I
I
don't
be
know.
making
Well,
that wager myself just to see if I know anything about this town by living on this continent or in this kingdom?
Okay.
I'd be
So
happy to
talking-
make a non-proficient local history check to see if
Yeah,
I know something about this town already, which is
Maybe-
perfect
how about
because
let's,
I have.
Yeah, let's with the help of the drunk, could get an advantage or something like that, or you could roll as if you were proficient. Like you can talk to the drunk, get a bonus on your if yeah. So roll as if you were proficient, I guess.
Okay.
How does that sound? So roll a
Sure,
really
just a charisma check.
You gotta use your other skills, man.
Well, I'm just trying to get information, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's not much of an option here.
Read it in a book.
All right. Local history is charisma
Or
with
just
no
like-
modifier. Okay. So I go up to the drunk. I give him the second beer of the two that I just got at the bar. I plop it in front of him, and I say, "You look like you've gone through hell. Have a drink on me."
Why don't you roll the local history just so we can sort of gauge? Oh, is that what that was? Or were you
No, that's an
need to
old
go
check.
again?
This is
Okay.
my check right now, a
So
7.
you're just going to fail a bunch of charisma checks. But I think if you buy him a beer, just drop another copper, I'll let you re-roll that. You're just going to have so many failed charisma checks.
All right. I'll roll it again. Ooh, close.
Close, but no cigar. That's assuming you're proficient, right? Yeah.
Yeah, assuming I'm proficient. So,
So the drunk takes a liking to you. We can role play that encounter out if you want, but I think you're going to get no useful information out of this guy.
okay. So I'm trying to figure out, like,
He
who
thirstily drinks the beer, and you ask him, "Yeah, tell me what you can."
like who owns the manor, and he doesn't give me any information about it.
He doesn't know. I mean, he's just like lapping up the beer like a grateful dog.
All right. When it's clear he's not giving me anything, I don't even try and make polite excuses. I just walk away from him, and I'll head back to the bartender. And I say, "Hey, bub."
He gives you a nod. Making friends, I see.
I give a shrug. "Anyone in this town hiring? Looking for some work?"
You an oarsman? He sort of looks down at your hands.
I shake my head.
Are they calloused or are they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Not heavily, but more than my hands, for sure.
You shake your head.
I shake my head. Thinking,
You a farmer?
no. Butler.
You're a butler. It's so likable.
Somebody in town.
He gives a shrug. You can see at the manor house, I guess, if they're looking for a butler, but you don't farm, you don't row. I don't know. There's much work to be done around here.
Who owns the manor house?
That would be Lord Winthrop. But I suspect you'll be lucky to get an audience even with his who manages his estates. It's like a chancellor.
That would work, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the title is I'm looking for.
Lord Winthrop. What sort of name is that? Sounds like an old man.
He gives a smile. A lordly name.
Is he some old, decrepit man, like he sounds?
You speak treasonously. The Lord is progressed in his years, though.
He does all right by you. You seem pretty loyal for a innkeeper.
He gives a shrug. Keeps the peace, I suppose. We've been more or less kept out of the wars.
Yeah, but at what cost? Those tax rates, right? Ridiculously
Taxes, am I right?
high. Sure. Time-honored tradition. So I'm just like trying to gauge if Lord Winthrop is the sort of guy who charges a lot of money, or I'm trying to gauge his wealth by gauging this guy's reaction to my taxes. Am I right? Is he like, oh yeah, tell me about it. The taxes are the worst, or is he like, they're reasonable?
Yeah. The barkeep will. I mean, you can read between the lines, I suppose, right? I mean, this is the lord of a small village. It doesn't really, it gets through traffic, and they probably tax the ferry, or like charge the ferries that come through and dock, and grow their wheat and tax their peasants, and so he's a lord, but he's not like a particularly flesh lord. Okay. His countryside hasn't been burned, so maybe that's a good sign. But other than that,
all right, I will head out of the tavern. And I'm going to make my way for the manor house to apply for a butler position. Mm-hmm. How far is the manor house? Is it in the village or is it out of the village?
At the edge of the village. It's overlooking the village, so you can walk past these. It's just a couple of shops. You would probably be hard pressed to buy supplies, although I guess you don't have any money, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter anyways. And through some outlying villages and fields.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay,
it's probably 25-minute walk from the docks to the gate of the manor house.
Okay.
There is a small stone wall and a iron gate with two men-at-arms sort of loitering about the gate.
There's a couple of things I want to keep an eye out for as I walk up this, towards the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be looking around town to see if I see any sheriffs or local town guard. Does it look like the place has a heavy military presence? Like, are there town guards walking all over the place, or is it, there's none in sight? I'm trying to see if I can spot any law enforcement. Is that a perception check or
make
a
a perception check. You can use either. I think. Yeah.
I would rather use perception.
Succeed.
Yes.
I think I have in my mind. I don't know if I will mechanize successful checks. Like, it may just be that if you succeed, you get what you want. That's fine. But for now, you can go ahead and record that you succeeded on a perception check. I think it'll just be the fails that you can count towards down the line. But you successfully perceived the town. You see one armed soldier guard in near the docks, and then there's two posted outside of the manor house.
Perfect.
I think the one in the town that you saw probably wasn't wearing a tabard with a sigil or anything.
Right.
So there's one guard posted at the docks. It's maybe
a village guard, and then
there, and then the Lord's personal footmen do have tabards and sigils that you can't quite make out from this distance.
I will walk right up to them.
They are one's leaning against the side of the gate, one sort of standing propped against a spear. Mm-hmm. And they appeared to be having a conversation as you approached.
Hello there.
And they I don't know what they're talking about. Random guard banter. You're always better at the NPC dialogue with yourself than I was.
T531s are almost out now. You hear about them?
The what 31s?
T531s. I don't know. There's some in Star Wars. They're talking about different blaster models and stuff. The stormtroopers in the background. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'll approach the two guards.
You put them in at the gate, and they. Oh. Good day.
Hello.
Can I help you?
I'm applying for a butler position. Does Lord Winthrop need a butler?
You're serious. He looks to the other guard, and I think we'll have you roll a charisma check to see how this goes.
Do it, man. One of these days, we're gonna pass a charisma check. Not today, though, but today. One of these days.
I think if you ever feel like advancing your charisma, you're gonna have so many failed tests that that won't be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, for now, no. The guards kind of laugh in your face. And can you believe this, Joe? Butler. Oh, you're serious. Get lost, monk.
What about what weapons are they armed with?
They have spears and probably sidearms.
Okay.
They're not armored in like mail or anything, but they do have armor and they've got metal helms.
What about an additional man-at-arms?
Look, old timer, you think you can just walk up and be a man-at-arms?
Bet I could beat you.
Bet you could beat me.
Hands down.
You believe this guy, Joey? And he sort of looks back to you, amused smile on his face.
Come on. I take a few steps back, put up my fists. I'll box you for your position.
Calm down, Thurston. He's like, no. I've been training my whole life to be to
suckle at your mother's teat. Is that it?
You watch your tongue. He starts striding towards you.
I just put up my fists.
You like start put up your fists and start dancing. Can you believe this, Joker? And he like looks to his friend. He's pissed, but you haven't provoked him to violence yet. So I mean, you've got, if you'd like to make a punch, take a first punch.
No.
Perhaps taunt him harder. You might be able to provoke him to action.
If I want to go that way, but
otherwise, I think we're just gonna tick around by. Is there anything else you'd like to say to escalate things?
So I'll say something like, "What? Are the two of you all he's got? Huh? Two of you chumps? I could be. I don't even need
Joey's here to whip you up and down the docks.
Please.
One is more than enough."
I put my hands down. You're not even worth my time. I could be the captain of the guard here overnight if I wanted to.
Sure you could, buddy. Move it along.
Okay. I'm going to take like a peer through the gate right before I go to see if I can see any other buildings. Is it like just the manor house, or there are like associated buildings in the yard?
Roll a perception check. To see if you... Yeah, I don't think you're able to get a good look before you're shoot off.
Okay.
Go ahead and mark a failed perception check.
I do.
Yeah.
I'll shoo off without a fight. But I've learned that is like roughly one guard in town. Two of these guards on the gate. If they're going to keep the gate guarded day and night, that means they hire at least a few guards. And Mel just is kind of putting this together as he's walking back to town. He's like, okay, 2 guards on the gate during the day. Maybe 1 guard on the gate at night, that's 3. Then he's probably gonna need like another 1 to keep guard on him through town. So we're looking at maybe 5 or 6 guards for this guy, ballparking it. So let's say 6. He's thinking maybe a captain, maybe not. The only other thing we got to do is like figure out how strong of a warrior this guy is. Like, it's a small village. I'm not expecting him to have a large number of guards. I didn't clearly see any outlying buildings, and you know, there's no double-story buildings in the manor house, or in the manor property, except for the manor house itself, right? It's double
Correct.
story.
Yeah, the manor is all you could see from the town or whatever.
Right.
Maybe in the yard outside you would have spotted some structures from. Yeah, going back to town, you can take another look, I think.
Sure.
No, yeah. I mean, so you failed the perception check, so no, like interesting close-up details, but you could clearly tell that there's like a stables and there's maybe there's like a workhouse or something down near fields or near.
How big?
All contained within the wall.
Can I get like an estimate for the length of the wall around the manor house? At least like the length of the side that I can see.
It's a lot of wall, actually, an absurd amount of wall, because I think it encloses his whole estate.
So we're talking a couple hundred feet then.
Yes, many hundrds of feet.
Okay.
I think I guess the fields must be outside of the wall itself.
Okay.
This wall is hundreds of feet, and it's not particularly tall, right? It's a stone wall. You can't quite see over it, but you might be able to hoist yourself over it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm thinking like the 6 guards might be a little low on the estimate then if it's that big of a wall. There might be up to 10 guards plus a captain of the guard. Leon's just kind of like pulling these numbers sort of out of like his history of doing this sort of work in the past. They're not accurate, but they're, you know, it's the ballpark he's working with until he can get some more information. So then he's gonna walk down to the dock to find that the local town guard. And if I can find him again, I want to stroll up to him and have a chat with him.
Sure. You can find, local, the town guard patrolling the docks, keeping peace. He's probably taking a break in the shade.
God, what am I gonna say to him? Hey, Constable.
Hey, bud. Got a problem?
I shake my head.
Good.
You looking to hire? Or is your boss looking to hire?
He sort of looks you up and down. You know what I'm going to say.
You're gonna tell me that you don't have a boss, you're self-employed, and you don't want to share the income?
No, I was gonna ask you to roll a charisma check.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah.
That went the wrong way. 15. Oh, God. One day, man. One day.
Afraid not. They don't, contrary to what you might see, they don't just take any bum off the streets and give him a cudgel and tell him he's got the power of authority to keep the peace.
Must have gone through some pretty hefty training to do that then, huh?
He sort of struggles to stand up. Yep. Trained at the manor house. They even brought in a knight.
No shit. A real knight?
2 whole weeks.
Is Lord Winthrop not skilled enough to teach, or he's just too busy?
Lord's one thing, but knights and their glitter and armor and games of war.
Must have been
It's a different sort of thing.
Must have been an amazing thing to train side by side with the knight.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
But I'm sure.
So you see, I
can't
just go.
Right.
I can't just go hiring you to see to my guard duties.
Right. Well, sorry to disturb. Maybe I'll find some other work. And Leon.
Fairy's always looking for rowers.
Shakes his head below him. He starts heading in the direction of the inn while thinking to himself. They brought in a knight from outside, so that means there's no captain of the guard. That also probably, that means that the skill of the individual guards is probably pretty low. Which is great, because Leon's got a lot of HP and he's pretty skilled. It's just their numbers that would be damaging to him. He doesn't have any crowd control spells.
You got your fists.
I do have my fists, I do.
Well, do we want to head into our
I think so, yeah.
final break?
Let's do it. Let's head to our final break, and I'll see, well, hopefully when we come back, we'll all be able to sort out a heist that we can do on the next episode. So I'll see you guys on the other side of the break.
Bye-bye.